Hello friends, and welcome to my channel and to Spellbinder's Day 10 of their Crafty Advent Calendar for 2024. I was excited to see that the Day 10 reveal was a beautiful scripty sentiment set. I've gone back to that gorgeous stencil set found in Day 7. This is such a quick and easy card, and I love to have note cards on hand, so I've made 3. I made some minor modifications between the cards by changing up the colors of the flower, and on one of them I flipped the stencil around. This sentiment from Day 10 for all 3 cards was die cut from matte gold cardstock and also black sheet foam. If you've watched any of my videos where I'm doing stacking, you'll probably know that I very rarely will pop out the foam die cut. Anything die cut in foam will be slightly depressed as compared to the foam surrounding it. This makes it very easy to stack any elements, and particularly when you're working with something fine like sentiments. Once the sentiments are stacked, it is important to set them aside until the adhesive dries completely. And because of the foam, the drying time will definitely be longer. So I'll set the sentiments aside and get busy on the stenciling. Although I did this set of cards in assembly line fashion, I'll just be showing one of them. I'm working on white cardstock panels and using a small blending brush. I'm working with fresh dye inks. The foliage for the 3 cards will be done with a combination of Misty Moor and Sea Forest. For this stencil on 2 of the panels, I am going to be applying the lighter of the 2 greens, Misty Moor. On my 3rd panel, I switched it up and applied the darker green Sea Forest using this stencil. Moving on to the 2nd stencil, any of the foliage for this one will be done with the darker green Sea Forest, and then on that 3rd panel, it's reversed and I'll be using the Misty Moor. For the large flower on this card, I'm using an ink called Pink Crystal. For the other 2 panels, Snapdragon is used on one and Velvet on the other. And when I'm finishing stenciling one side, I'll just take my stencil and flip it around to the other side and do the very same thing. And I follow this process for all 3 stencils on all 3 cards. For the 3rd stencil, I'll continue with Sea Forest on the leaves. Mauve is used on the small flowers and on the berries. For the other 2 panels, the small flowers and berries were done up in terracotta and rouge. The stenciled panels measure 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and they're being adhered to matte gold cardstock panels that are slightly larger at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inches. They are then adhered to an A2 size black card base. And I often will use black card bases because it really makes the panel pop. And I'll just adhere a smaller white panel on the inside of the card so I can write a note. Though it certainly didn't take very long to stencil all 3 panels, it was enough time for my sentiments to dry on the foam backing. I like to use the craft pick to help release the sentiment from the foam. I'll start off by adhering the hello centered at the base of the floral image stenciled at the bottom of the card. Then I'll lay out the other 2 words above it, trying to make sure that the distance from the panel's edge on both sides is more or less the same. Then I'll go ahead and adhere these 2 words. Liquid adhesive does give you a little bit of flexibility and wiggle room. You may have noticed that before I laid the word down, I tapped it off on my finger because I'd want to be careful not to use too much adhesive. The cards were embellished with gold confetti. After the confetti was placed on one image, the placement on the 2nd image was a mirror reflection of it. Confetti is finished up with Nouveau Crystal Drops Morning Dew. I know I do this all the time because I love the effect. Just look how pretty that confetti looks when the drops are dry. And that is a wrap for these quick and easy cards featuring day 10 of Spellbinder's Crafty Advent Calendar for 2024. And as always, I appreciate your visit and hope that you'll come back for day 11.